This is probably the hardest challenge anyone's ever attempted. Well, at least in this game, which is difficult by itself already. In this awesome real-time strategy game, I'm going to attempt the ships only challenge. That's insanely difficult, as the majority of battles are fought on land, where I'm gonna be completely defenseless. And that's not the only obstacle. The AI is also really smart by itself. On the second difficulty, which is medium, you would normally already have a hard time. But this time I'm gonna go for higher difficulty level, thus making the challenge close to impossible. This is Age of Mythology Ships Only challenge. For this challenge I was forced to pick a map which at least has a lot of sea area. It would be a short-lived challenge if I were to attempt it in a desert. Both I and my enemy get our own little island. My enemy, who is sadly playing with Poseidon, among other things the god of sea, storms and earthquakes, might have just a little advantage here. Man, I chose the enemy god randomly. What a matchup. What luck. I am in for a treat. Our first goal here is to train as many laborers as we can, get them all hunting for food. Then, when we have more, send some chopping down trees and mining for gold. We also need to increase our population cap, so we build some houses, but most importantly a dock. Since there is a lot of water, there are bound to be fish as well. That is going to be our main aim in this challenge. Get resources from the sea fast. The fish schools here provide an infinite flow of food, and the fishing boats are not bad at their job. We also built a temple so that we can progress to the next age. Many useful unlocks await us there. Many more fishing boats are also needed. We start making some arrow boats as well, because we are soon gonna be running into problems. The enemy is gonna build transport ships and bring troops to our island. We can't allow that. Furthermore, if we manage to sink those ships with the troops on board, they all perish. That would be awesome. We switch the focus of our workers from food to gold and wood. Those are needed for shipbuilding, and the food is handled by fishing anyway. We finally bring the ships to the enemy dock and start pestering their fishing boats. We also kill the serpent myth unit granted to us for advancing to this age, as we are not allowed to use it anyway. But look! The enemy transport is coming straight for our island! We have to sink it, quick! It's at half health, but approaching the shore fast. We didn't make it in time. The troops got dropped off at the island. Luckily, there are not that many of them and we can handle them with just our ships. We get back to sinking the enemy fishing boats. We can see 2 transport ships on standby. We should get rid of them before the enemy uses them. We sink one which appears to have been waiting for an army to arrive. And the army is here. Too many archers there, we need to get back. But there is still the other ship. We have to sink it, quick! Oh no, the enemy has invoked the ceasefire god power. Now we can't attack the ship. We watch helplessly as the enemy army boards the ship. In the old school fashion of these games, we try to stop the ship by body blocking it. Or maybe hull blocking? Not sure about the right terminology here. Sadly, we fail to do so, and the enemy army arrives on our island. Luckily, the AI is trying to attack our close-by ships, but the army is forced to just aimlessly stand there, as the ceasefire is still in effect. We then attack the army as soon as possible. Only a couple of hoplites eventually make it to our town center, but its defenses deal with them easily. We have quite the fleet already, so it's time to launch a full-sized attack on the enemy base. We grab a few essential ship upgrades at the docks and start building ballista siege ships. We successfully start destroying enemy military buildings. The annoying thing about God Poseidon in this game is that once any building of his worshippers gets destroyed, a few militias get spawned there. They can be quite tough to deal with, especially in high numbers and at this difficulty. We keep up the pressure as we destroy more buildings, including the temple and barracks. The shore is ours. We don't let any units, and especially any workers, even close to it. The warships are ready, but they don't have the needed reach just yet. The enemy town center remains safe. But we have to watch out. Our ships are being attacked near the enemy docks by fireships supported by the legendary Greek ship Argo. We deal with those, but more keep coming. We don't seem to be able to get rid of the dock. As we send more ships to reinforce the attack, we weaken the eastern shore and the enemy starts rebuilding. At this point we started working on the flaming arrows upgrades and have already upgraded our ballista ships for greater damage, but most importantly, range. Many buildings are collapsing, which sadly also means many militia spawning. They can be a huge problem if our ships get too close. Thanks to our powerful ships, we finally destroyed the enemy town center. This might be the tipping point of this war. The enemy started rebuilding the town center at the place of the other settlement on the island. There is a rising fear that it might not be in range of our warships. If that is the case, this challenge is as good as lost. Phew, it is in range. The foundations of their new base have been destroyed. We are having trouble finding the enemy workers on the island as our vision doesn't reach the middle of it. We need a miracle? Omniscience. Our god grants us the ability to see all enemy units in exchange for half of our gold. We start hunting down the few remaining workers on the island as they desperately try to gather resources and rebuild. And this is the last enemy militia. And as the last enemy militia falls, we win the match, the war, the challenge. This has honestly been a blast. The challenge was indeed challenging, which I find to be surprisingly the main characteristic of a challenge. But most importantly, I'm surprised at how the challenge went. I was sincerely doubtful whether it even is possible to complete it, and even if it was, how difficult it would be. Well, as it turns out, it is possible, and honestly, this might be my new favorite game mode. You might want to give it a go yourselves. I would love it if you were to leave your thoughts, feedback, or maybe even ideas for future challenges in the comments. I already have a couple more in mind myself, and I hope to see you again when I take those on next time.